Hi everybody, and welcome to another video about my custom Thomas Wooden Railway engines. Today's focus is on the diesel engine Bear, who was previously known as Diesel 7101, who was only featured in the Railway series. However, he has a really strong cult following, and a lot of people want him to appear in the TV series. I think if you were to run like an unofficial poll of engines that people want to have either, return to the TV series or be introduced for the first time, I think Boko and Duke would be close to the top of that list, but I also think Bear here would be a strong contender as well. So this custom was made by Hiro the Japanese Train. He's done a lot of custom work for me, and he did an excellent job of repainting this D199 model that I had, and he did a lot of other things as well, and I'll kind of compare the two in just a second. But big thanks to Hiro the Japanese Train, aka Matt, for his really hard work. And before I get on to exploring the details and intricacies of this model, a brief history on Bear for those who don't know much about him. Like my previous custom video on 16, Bear is a Railway series exclusive character. He came to the Railway along with this other diesel named Diesel 199, which interestingly or coincidentally, I just did a Thomas Wooden Railway discussion on his three Thomas Wooden Railway models not too long ago, so be sure to check that out. But these two diesels came to Sir Topham Hatt's Railway on loan from the mainland, aka the other railway, and at the time they were both painted in this sort of aqua blue teal color. And whereas D199 had more of a rounder face, 7101 had a more rectangular face, but they looked, pretty similar to each other. So while D199 was really stuck up and arrogant and honestly mean to the steam engines, 7101 was much more quiet and cautious, and he was kind of acting as D199's babysitter in a sense. He was having to apologize for him. So D199 and the steam engines didn't get along, but the engines, they were like, oh, this other diesel, he's kind of nice, he's not acting like this other diesel is. So then a couple days later, 7101 was pulling the express and his injector failed, and then Henry came along and he was already pulling D199's train because that diesel had a problem, and then this diesel has a problem. So Henry has to pull D199's train along with his own original train while pushing 7101's express coaches. So Henry basically had to come to the rescue, aka the Super Rescue, which is what the story that these two diesels are featured in is called. By the way, it's in the book. It's in the Enterprising Engines book of the Railway series. So while the engines kind of figured that, D199 had it coming, and they, labeled him Old Reliable and Spam Cam because he obviously wasn't reliable, and Spam Cam is just kind of a not nice nickname. The engines, were much more favorable towards 7101, and they kind of sympathized with him. So when it came time for both the diesels to leave, the steam engines actually asked Sir Topham Hatt to allow 7101 to stay because they probably saw a lot of potential in him. And so what ended up happening is that Sir Topham Hatt kept 7101, and he got rid of his number and instead was named or nicknamed Bear, because supposedly Bear's engine growled a lot, and so he sounded like a bear, I guess is what the engines were thinking. So he also received a new coat of paint, whereas in the past he had looked something like this kind of blue color, which was linked to the British Railways. He received a green color, which I guess is more of like a Sodor color or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, he received this paint job, and he doesn't look anything like he used to. He has a new paint color, and he has a new name, and overall life is really good for Bear because a number is more impersonal, he's just like on a long line of lists of other diesels that work on the other railway, but a name such as Bear, I think there's sort of an afterthought in the book The Little Western, I want to say, which is the last book in the Enterprising Engines saga, where it's revealed that Bear stayed on the railway and he pulls the express when the steam engines don't want to or are unable to, and he likes having the name Bear. So that's really Bear's history. He appeared. Big thanks to Matt for his hard work, and obviously thanks again for you guys for watching this video.